Welcome back to the CoolFigurez channel. I'm your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector. The information on the channel is intended for adult collectors and not children. And welcome to episode 35 of Coffee and... Well, it is coffee and toys, and there should be toys here for this week's toy haul. However, as you can see, it is completely empty. We will get into that. This week's Coffee and Toys Live, the future of Coffee and Toys Live, and of course, this week's toy news. But first, if you're new, then welcome. This channel is all about cool action figures, analyzing them, hunting them, taking pics of them, and of course, playing with them. If that's your sort of thing, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button? And while you're at it, why don't you go ahead and hit that bell notification icon so you stay notified when I do upload new content. If you do enjoy this video or any other videos that I put out, please remember to give them a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. With all of that being said, guys, once again, welcome to episode 36 of Coffee and Toys here on the CoolFigurez channel. Like I said, guys, no toy haul this week. I guess we'll go ahead and start with the toy haul. This week's episode is going to be just a little bit different in that sense that, we're not going to have a toy haul, and we're going to be starting with talking about I guess not having a toy haul this week. And to be honest, guys, I'm just not hunting for anything or really looking for anything besides maybe the Black Series Echo. And even still, I'm like, do I really want him? Like, my OCD wants to complete the Bad Batch, but at the same time, I'm just like, I can live without him. He's not that necessary of a trooper or a character to me. He's not a phase 1 clone trooper. Like I said, guys, 2022 is definitely gonna be the year of selective collecting because these prices are getting outrageous. I'm sure you Marvel Legends collectors definitely saw that, especially today during Marvel Legends live stream. As always, I record this on Friday. You guys see this on Sunday, so if I say stuff like that, just know that's why. But so I did go to the stores. I did see one or two things where, had they been a few dollars cheaper, like last year's prices or the years prior, I may have just picked them up for the fuck of it, for just some content for you guys, some reviews. But I passed on everything that I saw that had any kind of potential because I am only buying what I absolutely need. But don't worry, guys, this dry spell will be ending next week. However, for the following week, we'll see what the future holds for that. But at least for next week, I do know that I am getting something in the mail. And what is it? It's my favorite Mezco toys. What am I getting in? I am getting in the retro 2-pack of Batman and Two-Face. A lot of East Coast people have already been getting him in because it's coming from New York, so I have to wait until sometime next week, unfortunately, to get mine in. I had been fortunate in the last two purchases that I made through Mezco. They came through Washington, and I would get them within like a day and a half from when FedEx would grab it, transport it, and deliver it. So gotta wait a bit, a little FOMO, seeing them all playing with them and having fun and everything, but it'll be well worth the wait, and I cannot wait to get my hands on some new Mezcos. It's a dicey game with those things. You love them, they're amazing, but they do cost a pretty penny. So as much as you want them to come out as much as Marvel Legends, it's kind of nice that they tend to delay stuff a lot of the times. Thankfully, I have had some new opportunities come to me that will open new doors, new passages of income for me personally, and I may be able to dive in a little deeper and harder into Mezcos now, depending on how things go with it. Everything's still very new, but I'm excited for the future. A lot of great opportunities coming my way, and I'm not just gonna sit by and watch them go by. So I'm gonna take them, and hopefully everything works out and everything works for the best. So with that being said, guys, so next week we will be having a toy haul, at least one 2-pack at least, so 2 figures is better than what we have this week, right? My refill for my coffee cup, it's essentially, I figured, why not just balance it out? Usually I have it back here behind the stand, but I was like, what, why don't I balance out the podcast table? I thought about bringing other stuff that I had and putting it on this side to help balance it out, but I was like, you know what, this is the toy haul area. I feel like it should stay the toy haul area, so I was like, you know what, I'll just leave my refilled coffee right there. So with that being said, why don't we go ahead and talk about this week's Coffee and Toys Live. I had an amazing conversation with the great visual approach Canary. If you don't know who he is an amazing toy photographer over on Instagram. definitely check him out and give him a follow, guys, especially if you love Star Wars. He does some amazing Star Wars toy photography, and yeah, definitely check him out. We talked toy photography, collecting, toy photography puberty. If you want to know what that is, he goes all into that during this conversation. So all of that is in this week's episode of Coffee and Toys as well at the end of this portion, so stay tuned for that. But next week I will be speaking with Go Fig Go. The following week I actually have nobody planned, because when I sent out the invite for another guest, I gave him the week after the first week of June, when I was thinking that it was the first week of June, and so I kind of have nobody there. But after next week, so I'm still working on trying to figure someone out there. I may bring back a guest that I've had on the show before, just to have somebody familiar back on the show. And so yeah, I'm probably going to do that for the week after Go Fig Go. But the week after that, we will be speaking with Parts May Vary. If you don't know who Parts May Vary is, I highly recommend you check out his Instagram, because he does some amazing toy photography of Back to the Future, Marvel, Batman, any kind of real pop culture franchise. He basically does it. So definitely check out Parts May Vary on Instagram as well. Following that show, I will have the rescheduled Nerdzoic show, so stay tuned for that, guys. That will definitely be a great conversation. By the way, if you didn't know, he was recently hit with a flood in his basement due to Mother Nature and everything. So if you don't know who he is, he has his own online toy store. I highly recommend you go and support. That's the great thing about this community, is we support each other. So I highly recommend, if you're in the business to buy toys, which one of us aren't, I highly recommend you checking out nerdzoic.com and checking out his toy store. Some of his product did get damaged in terms of packaging, so he took it out of the box and is selling it as a loose figure for a little bit less than what you would buy if you bought the whole package and everything. So definitely check out his website and help support him. Help kickstart Nerdzoic's Toy Store 2.0. So super excited to talk to him and all those other guests. And so yeah, that was Coffee and Toys Live this week and the future a bit. So yeah, like I said, this would be the part where we would talk about the toy haul. However, I could talk about this coffee pot. It's a nice coffee pot. Silver, nice and dirty. Spilled coffee all over it this morning when I was up at 4:30 a.m. to train a client. So yeah, it's all, So yeah, but I mean, it keeps the coffee hot, It's a cuisine art, I guess. So funny fact, this is actually the coffee pot to our old coffee maker, which actually broke. So we got another one, but it didn't have one of these things that kept it, hot. It was like a traditional coffee maker, because we got one of those fancy ones that, grinds up the beans and everything, and then less than 6 months it fucking dies on us. So my mom was like, we're just gonna get a traditional coffee maker, and it's been working great. We just kept this part so that way we can keep the coffee hot after we take it off the pot. So yeah, great coffee pot, guys. So anyways, why the fuck am I talking about a coffee pot, guys? I'm sure I lost a few of you there, or a few of you have probably already skipped ahead to this part. So if you have, don't worry, you don't have to skip any more. I'm done talking about the coffee pot. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. We're going to talk about toy news now, guys. And surprisingly, there's quite a bit of toy news this week. There's a front and a back. So, and Diamond Select has quite a bit on the back. So, with that being said, first off, let's go ahead and thank our sponsor, VRare Store. Check them out for all your Funko Pop, anime, and Pokemon card needs. And of course, use code CoolFigurez at checkout for 10% off your order. VRare Store. Check them out, guys. So, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and talk about my favorite toy company, Mezco. Like I said, I am expecting a Mezco package next week. Super excited about that. And I am super excited about this Spider-Man figure that they are releasing, and it is now up for pre-order at both Mezco and other toy retailers. So if you want to leave a non-refundable deposit over at Mezco, you can, or if you want to do it all hassle-free, you can go to Entertainment Earth, or I believe Big Bag Toy Store. I'm not sure. I know Entertainment Earth has it, but I don't know if Big Bag Toy Store has it just yet. But they do tend to get them eventually. So that's basically all the Mezco news for this week. But it was pretty big, because not only did they show us more of the Green Goblin figure that they had teased in the tease of this Spider-Man, but they also teased an upcoming Doc Ock. So I'm going to have to jump in on this. I had a chance to get a Homecoming suit Spider-Man for $95 on OfferUp. And I was like, you know what, that's just too high. There's just not enough accessories. And This one's 120, guys. I mean, it does come with a lot of accessories. I have to admit, it comes with a lot more accessories than what the Homecoming suit came with. And that one's going for, I think, probably 200 to 300 on the aftermarket. So 120 for this one with all these great accessories doesn't sound too bad to me, but I'm probably going to wait to put in my pre-order since it's not an exclusive. That's kind of my rule of thumb with Mezcos. If it's not an exclusive, I'm not putting a non-refundable deposit, and I'll probably wait till closer to release date or when they're saying it's going to be released to put my pre-order in. That's why I actually haven't even pre-ordered the Batman Mezco, which I am actually really excited for, but it's not an exclusive. It's not going to sell out anywhere, so I can wait till they finally say, okay, this figure's going to be shipping soon. My friend Robert actually pre-ordered it, so when he gets that notification, that's when I'll hop on my computer and instantly pre-order it, so that way I get that email the next day. So anyways, guys, although I do have a few Mezcos that aren't exclusives pre-ordered, like that new Superman that they announced last year, the trio, the Superman, Flash, and Batman from Zack Snyder's Justice League, which that was actually supposed to come out in February. Then it got pushed back to March, and it's May the last time I checked, right, guys? About to actually be June, and we have not seen that pack yet. I still have my McFarlane Superman and Flash up there placeholding because I don't have a black suited Superman, or in fact, I don't have any Mezco Superman yet because I wanted that black suit one, but then also that comic one looks amazing. All the great accessories with it, the Starro accessory, just so cool. And then McFarlane Toys is giving us a giant Build-A-Figure Starro, so it's like perfect. But anyways, enough talking about Mezco because I could talk about them all fucking day, guys. Talking about Mezco, actually, I did actually finish cleaning my room, guys, except for my Mezco display. It's just so elaborate and so delicate that I really need a lot of time to just, pull each figure off carefully, clean each figure carefully, clean the shelf, and then redo everything carefully. And so, yeah, I was able to, pretty much rush through certain things, throw things around, not too hard. I mean, it's on my bed and stuff, but with Mezcos, you just got to be super careful, especially with those soft goods. So I have yet to clean that, but I will be getting that done this weekend. So super excited about that. And then finally, I will upload my video where I finally show you guys the collection before the cleaning process, which is quite a lot of time-lapse videos. It's just a few scrolls on my phone, and then I will show you guys what my collection looks like now. And oddly enough, stuff's already getting dusty, so I'm already probably gonna have to hit stuff with, like canned air and stuff before I actually film, or else you guys are probably gonna be like, well, did you actually clean? I did, but I live with a German Shepherd, and well, they shed like a motherfucker, and so things tend to get dirty a lot faster, and he tends to live in this room when I'm not in it. So yeah, things get a lot dirty a lot faster. So that is it in terms of Mezco news, guys. So next up, why don't we go ahead and talk some NECA news. But first, thank you so much to Legend Footwear for helping also sponsor this video. Check them out at legendfootwear.com and use code JesseM_LGND for 10% off your order. Also, thank you so much to Old School Labs for helping support this video. Check them out over on Amazon at Old School Labs and use code JesseM12 for 12% off your order. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk some NECA news, guys. Right before I came on, they did show off a new post stating that next week they will be showing off a new Comic-Con exclusive every day of the week. So let's see what we're gonna be getting, guys. I'm sure Ninja Turtles are in there. I'm sure they're gonna be hard to get, and I'm sure this is gonna be fun. However, something I do want to talk about real quick. How's your guys' loot crates going with the NECA loot crates with the TMNT? I've heard a lot of bad stuff, guys. I've heard a lot of bad stuff, unfortunately. Thankfully, for me, I actually missed out on it. Back then they were like, oh, it's open all the way to the end of the month. So I was like, that's fine. I'll order it at the end of the month. I get paid, blah, 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 not an issue. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, box 1 is sold out. And I was like, what? And then next thing you know, box 2 gets sold out, box 3 gets sold out, and obviously box 4, because everybody sees that, well, it's not really an open pre-order. There's limited quantities, so it just got bought up super quick to the point where I was just like, well, everything's sold out, can't buy anything. And I kind of was just like, okay, I guess if I really want one or two of the figures, I can, buy them on the third party market. Really the only two figures I wanted that they were releasing with these loot crates were the Danny Pennington and the Donatello dressed as like essentially a superhero or Batman. I mean, makes sense, right? I mean, I have a Michelangelo dressed as Batman from the DC Direct when they did the Batman versus TMNT movie, so that would have been cool to stick him next to that Mikey. But I've heard a lot of bad stuff. Like, I heard that due to unpaid taxes, a lot of stuff is being held. And let me tell you something, guys. There's only two things certain in life. Two things. Let me know down in the comments below if you know what those two things are before I even say it. Death and toys. Nah, I'm fucking kidding, guys. It's death and taxes. And so if it's about taxes, guys, I'm sorry, but until shit gets resolved, I don't think you guys are going to be seeing your product. So that's one of those instances where I'm like, I'm glad I missed out on that. But I do sympathize with you because I have actually pre-ordered something that is still in the works that I actually spent quite a bit on, like upwards of like $600, and it still has not been produced. In fact, it's in a really bad state because of everything that happened back in 2020, stuff that should have been happening wasn't, and time had lapsed, contracts lapsed, and now 100 grand in, and people are asking where their products at, and they still need to finish tooling for certain products, or I think it's like two more pieces of the product. And so it's just like, so I do sympathize with you, especially since you guys did pay about $250 for those boxes. So yeah, hopefully we all one day see all our toys that we gave these toy companies non-interest loans. So why don't we move on from that subject, guys, and talk about the packaging reveal for the NECA TMNT Michelangelo as the Mummy. And NECA always trying to be sneaky and trying to sneak in something else. And at the end of the slideshow showing off all the packaging for Mikey, they did show off the front packaging for Donatello as the Invisible Man. We have been waiting to see who Donatello is going to be. We had Raph as Frankenstein's monster, we had Leo as Igor, and then we had Mikey as the Mummy, and everybody was thinking like, who can Donatello be? Oh, we had April as Frankenstein's bride, so really we were wondering who can Donnie be. And obviously it makes sense, right? The Invisible Man, he's a chemist, he's a man of science, and so is Donatello, so it makes total sense. So super cool, super hyped on that line. I love the crossover. Back in the day it was cheesy as fuck, but now with NECA's tooling, sculpting, and everything, I'm all in on this line. I didn't pre-order the April because it seems like I'm having more luck finding these figures in store before they get shipped out to me. So I'm more of a like, I'll find it in stores, especially with my friend Robert. He helps me find stuff, and so that's a big help. And so I kind of just go with the flow at this point. Like I said, with prices rising at this point, it's like I can't be having surprise credit card charges to my account, at $30, $40, $50 each time, and it's just a Marvel Legends, a Black Series, you know what I mean? So pre-orders are kind of scarce. I'll save those for like Mezcos, maybe certain NECA products, like their exclusives that they're going to be showing off if they do release them online and not just at San Diego Comic-Con, and there's something that I do like. So yeah, we'll just have to wait to see what they release next week. The other thing that they did tease and show off was their new Dungeons and Dragons line. I mean, I'll be honest, guys, I don't give a fuck. I wasn't never that much of a nerd. I love Star Wars, I love superheroes, but I'm good on Dungeons and Dragons. The furthest I go into that kind of realm of stuff would be Lord of the Rings. I like those movies, didn't read the books, don't go outside that lore, but I do enjoy the Peter Jackson films. So yeah, if you're into that, they did show off some pics. Here they are. We're going to go ahead and scooch on by. So thank you also so much to Raise Energy for helping sponsor this video. Check them out over at raisenergy.com and use code THEBAT at checkout for 10% off your order. So with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and talk some McFarlane news because they have quite a bit. So starting off with Doom. I guess they got their hands on the Doom license, and they are starting off with 3 figures. The Slayer character in the Ember skin, the Classic skin, and the Astro skin. So if you are a Doom fan, be on the lookout for these. They should be coming out soon. Knowing McFarlane, every time he shows something off, they come out relatively soon. However, if you look at the elbows, guys, they do look like they're single jointed. So it seems like McFarlane's doing what he does with most new lines, and that is test the waters. He's not giving you guys everything he can just yet. He wants to see who's interested, how much he's going to sell. If the interest is there, he will invest more in the sculpting and articulation. So yeah, guys, if you're a Doom fan, look out for those. But of course, he had to talk about his main heavy hitter, the DC multiverse. And yes, we are getting another Batman. This one actually looks pretty cool, if I do say so myself, the Noel version. But we are also getting a Black Adam, a Superman, and a Constantine. And they all come with an exclusive comic book. Are they all the same comic book, though? Because if you buy all 4, you're going to have all 4 the same. I don't know. I really hope it's a... I mean, if Todd was smart, he would make it like book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4, right? Because nobody wants the same book 4 times. I don't know. I guess we're going to have to wait and see. I just want the Batman. The Superman looks a little wonky. I've never been a fan of Constantine or Black Adam. So I kind of just want the Batman because that's a really cool version of Batman, the Batman from Batman Noel. And so that's probably the only figure I will be picking up from that line. They are up for pre-order now, as well as the Doom figures, so check them out. Thank you so much to Mansport Supplement for helping support this video as well. Check them out over at mansportsupplements.com and use code THEBAT for 10% off your order. Next up, let's talk some Mattel news. We hardly talk Mattel, but with San Diego Comic-Con coming up, they are bringing out all the big guns. So last year they gave us a a Samuel L. Jackson character. I can never remember his name. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. When he was attacked by the Raptors, they even gave us the arm with the blood and everything. Well, this year they are giving us Ian Malcolm when he's all laid up. You know, that famous scene. And so yeah, they're giving us that where it's, you know, mainly cardboard around it. It's the diorama's mainly cardboard, but there's a little more plastic this year in the form of that base that Ian is laying on. You know, last year it was, I think the only plastic we got was the actual figures themselves. Everything else was a diorama made of cardboard. And this year, at least they're mixing it up, giving us some depth and also giving us some 3D look to it, you know, adding in that plastic front piece and then, you know, the diorama in the back being cardboard. I feel like that works a little better. You know, when you mix those two elements together, they tend to look really, really good. So yeah, moving on, let's go ahead and talk some Marvel Legends, because I believe this morning on Friday, they did take to their Instagram Live to announce some new figures. Man, I don't know how you Marvel Legend fans fucking collect these things. I mean, I know most of you guys are like full wave, every wave collectors. I know Marvel Funko Bros is, and I don't know how you still do it, man. I mean, these prices are getting crazy outrageous. $30 for Firelord? Whew. I think it was like $150 for like one of these sets. So let's go ahead and get into it. Target exclusive Spider-Man or Bagman, the one where he's wearing the Fantastic Four suit with the paper bag over his head, is a Target exclusive, and it is up for pre-order now if it hasn't already sold out. But constantly check. Target has a tendency to have it sold out and then they'll put it up randomly constantly. So constantly check. They did also show off their new Kenner style 5-point Sentinel. This thing looks massive compared to the 3.75 inch figure, so it's probably closer to about 5 or 6 inches. I didn't watch the live stream, so I didn't get any of those details. I just saw the pretty little pictures that were screen grabbed and everything. So moving on, they did also show off a Marvel Legends Sharon Carter, part of the new What If Build-A-Figure wave. So look out for that if that's your type of thing. Next up, like I said, $30 for the Fantastic Four packaging of Firelord, guys. You need this Firelord. He is $30. He is worth the price, I guarantee you. I have no fucking idea who Firelord is, guys, but $30 fucking dollars? I don't even think I'd pay $30 fucking dollars for a Spider-Man figure from Marvel Legends, let alone some figure or character I don't really know. Man, these prices, guys. That's what I'm saying. 2022 year of selective collecting. It's not a bad thing, guys. Trust me. It is not a bad thing. In fact, it helps you with your space, it helps you really see your collection that you have anyways. There's a lot of times where we're always so focused on those next figures to come out, the next figures that are, shown, revealed, up for pre-order, when we don't really take the time to like sit and look at our collection and see what we have. Jason B. Michael really changed my mind on this when he showed me that, especially as a toy photographer, yes, these are our toys. Yes, this is our collection, but there are tools for our art. And if you're not using a tool, if you know you don't need that tool, get rid of it. Put it away somewhere. Make space for other tools that you know you will use and you want to use. So yeah, that's basically how I've been looking at things, and that's why I said there were a few things that I saw in the store when I went looking these past few days and whatnot, but I was just like, I don't see any potential in pictures with these guys. I don't see anything here. I don't have anywhere to put them. Well, I have places to put them. I can always squeeze shit in. But it's just like, why? It's just like, why? So I am really just collecting absolutely what I want this year. And I suggest you do the same too. So, anyways, guys, moving on, they did also show off a retro carded War Machine. So, if you are an inbox collector, I'm sure that's for you. They did show off another Spider-Man, talking about Spidey, for $30. The Japanese version from the old show, yeah, he's going to be up for pre-order if he isn't already. And so, yeah, but $30, guys, for one Spider-Man figure, and I think one set of alternate hands. Yeah, or you could pay 115 or 50 for the Mojo World. It's like a big box set with Mojo, two other characters, and one little Wolverine figurine. I don't know. I'm not too big on the X-Men. I watched the animated series as a kid. I've rewatched it recently too, but I just kind of just in the background. I remember I rewatched it while I was still in college, and I was typing papers and taking naps and doing all sorts of other things that I can't mention here on YouTube. So we're gonna move on from that. But they did also tease a new Gambit figure before they logged off, so be on the lookout for that. So before we get into Diamond Select news, thank you so much to Physique Apparel for also helping sponsor this video. If you guys want some nice loungewear or gym sets for an affordable price, check out physiqueapparel.com, and of course use code THEBAT for 10% off your order. So with that being said, thank you so much to Diamond Select and their marketing manager Zach Oath for sending over all the images and information for these next reveals and looks. So starting off with the Marvel Comics Venom 1/6 Minibus, and man, does this thing look mean. This thing just looks like Venom, so that is a great job on their part for that one. Next up, they are releasing a 3-pack for the Nightmare Before Christmas Jack Skellington figures. It is titled The Jobs of Jack Skellington. You get him as Santa Claus, regular Jack, and of course him as the Pumpkin King before he's reborn as the Pumpkin King. So super cool. Next up, they did show off that they are releasing a 3D half-scale Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett bust. After that, they did also show off a 3D 1/2 scale First Order Stormtrooper bust. These things both look highly detailed and amazing. If I was going to buy one of them, I would definitely go with the Boba Fett one right there. I mean, I have a whole shrine of Boba Fett right there, but these are resin statues, so they will break if they fall or anything falls on them. So yeah, I'm going to wait till I get DTOS so I actually buy any kind of resin statues that can potentially break if something falls on top of them or if they fall, because at least those are closed and secured. I just need to make sure I secure the shelves correctly. Anyways, guys, moving on. They did also show off a Remnant Stormtrooper Minibus with swappable arms. So you can have him holding his blaster like this, or you can have him holding a heavy rifle blaster like that. So next up, they did show off a Jumbo Imperial Commander Empire Strikes Back figure from the Canary style line that they have going on. And then right before I came on, like right as I was coming on, I happened to check my email, and I got one more email from Zacho. So shout out to him. Thank you so much for keeping me updated on all this stuff. And sending me over all the images too. That makes my job a hell of a lot easier, man. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. I don't have to be going around Instagram and, okay, they didn't post it on their main page. Okay, who posted it? Okay, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's a mess sometimes, but he sends me over all the information, all the pretty promotional pictures, and it runs smoothly. So with that being said, they did show off a Gargoyles Santos 1/7 scale resin mini bust. So yeah, if you're a Gargoyles fan, it's the time to be a Gargoyles fan, because not only does NECA have you covered, Diamond Select has you covered as well. I wonder if these ones are as large in terms of the wingspan as the NECA ones. I don't think so. I think Diamond Select has more collectors than mine when it comes to that. I feel like they would have included those closed wings with them, but that's just me. But you can always buy Bronx and get the closed wings for one of them, right? But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and move on, because they did also show off a new Diamond Select Gallery Baroness G.I. Joe statue. And good job, Diamond. I mean, good job. She looks amazing. I'll leave it at that. But anyways, I'm kidding. It's just a really good looking statue. They are starting to dip their toe into G.I. Joe. This is the second G.I. Joe statue that they have shown off. The first one being Destro, which also looked amazing. I just personally am not a G.I. Joe collector. I am a fan, but I just, one of those other rabbit holes where I'm just like, avoid it. You don't have to go down it, so don't. So anyways, expect more from Diamond Select to come soon. Next up, they did also show off some new D-Forms Lord of the Rings Series 1 figurines. Now, these are little tiny vinyl figurines. I've shown off the Ninja Turtle ones previously, and now I guess they're dipping their toes into Lord of the Rings. So after that, they did show off another gallery statue, this one in the form of the Scarlet Witch from WandaVision. This thing looks massive and amazing. Definitely looks great. So next up, they did also show off a comic Vulture gallery statue. Now this thing takes me back to fucking, watching, the animated series and stuff like that. Even though it's not the animated series one, that one was a lot closer to this one than the Spider-Man Homecoming one was. So to me, it took me back to that, because it was kind of somewhat based off him. It was a little tweaked and different, but it's nice to see they're showing the classic Vulture some love, because I feel like that's a villain that doesn't get too much love, because it is essentially just an old man, but it looks pretty badass, if I do say so myself. So next up, they did show off a new Avengers Endgame 1/6 scale Black Panther minibus. The detailing on this guy's suit looks phenomenal, guys. So yeah, moving on, they did also show off a Marvel Select Red Hulk. I guess that's cool. I've always personally been a fan of the regular Green Hulk. I'm sure you guys know that, because my favorite color is green. So if you want a red one, if your favorite color is red, here's your chance to get your favorite color in the Hulk. That's all I can say on that. Next up, they do have a Rebels Ezra 1/6 minibus. I'll be honest with you guys, I just can fuck with Rebels. It was too kid-centric. They tried to make Star Wars too kiddie. It wasn't like... Clone Wars was perfect. It was an animated show made for early teens to adults. Like, it wasn't a kids animation show. Rebels was all kid animation, and so I couldn't get into that just to follow the storyline, and I just no. So yeah, they got an Ezra bus, whatever. But the last thing that they did show off was a Rogue One Cassian Andor 1/6 scale bust. Now, I do enjoy Cassian Andor as a character in Rogue One. I believe that is the only good Star Wars film that Disney has given us thus far, followed by The Force Awakens, and then I can't even rate the rest because they're so goddamn awful. I'm sorry, guys. That's just my opinion. You can like them. I'm not telling you not to like them, because apparently a lot of people get butthurt when you say shit about the new movies, and oh, how dare you not like them. Look, you can like them. They can be part of your canon, but in my canon, those motherfucking things don't exist. Luke Skywalker's still alive. Han Solo's still alive. One thing, Disney. One thing. All we wanted was one fucking thing. Luke, Han, and Leia. together on the screen, side by side, fighting side by side. And what's the one thing that they never gave us? Luke, Han, and Leia on screen together, fighting side by side. How do you fuck up that bad? Literally fuck up that bad. That is the biggest missed opportunity of the century in terms of film, in my opinion. I mean, how do you not... You buy this franchise that has these three core major characters that have spanned generations, and you just toss them aside. It's just so disrespectful. I really don't feel like... I mean, if you wanted to close the chapter on the Skywalker saga, why introduce new characters? Why spend time introducing new characters? Why not just spend time with the old characters that we already know and love and finish off the story that way? You know, so that's just my opinion. Like I said, I'm not telling you you can't like it, you shouldn't like it. It could be canon in your head if you like, Finn, if you like Rose Tico, if you like Rey, if you like, what's his name, Adam Driver, I can't remember, Kylo Ren. That's you, that's cool. I can't. It's so stupid. I mean, okay, look. The whole reason Anakin turned to the dark side was to save Padme, right? Because he couldn't save her through the Force, through the light side. Like, it was only taught by the Sith. Yet Rey knows how to do this. So it just negates the whole previous 6 movies if you really think about it. And it's just so fucking stupid. I mean, would you have chimpanzees? No, I'm sorry. That's an insult to chimpanzees. Chimpanzees could write a better Star Wars movie after watching the 6 Star Wars movies that were previous before them. I don't even know what the fuck these writers were on. They couldn't even have been on meth, because I feel like meth would have at least given us a better Star Wars film. I mean, they had to have been on like ketamine or something, like some fucked up Hollywood shit, Stuff they used to drug up horses, But, probably gonna get like marked down for saying that word on here, but anyways, guys, that's my little end rant on Star Wars and Disney. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to end it that way. It just kind of came out. Like I said, my podcast, my rules, my voice. Talk to me down in the comments. I'm not against talking to you guys in the comments. I want to engage with you guys. If you feel like these 3 new Star Wars movies are the strongest Star Wars movies in existence, tell me why. Change my mind. So anyways, guys, with that being said, that wraps up this week's toy news. And with that being said, thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode of Coffee and Toys. I really do appreciate each and every single one of you that take time out of your busy day to watch this, guys. Like I said, next week we will have a toy haul. We will be speaking with Go Figure Go on Coffee and Toys Live. And as always, you can follow me over on Instagram at CoolFigurez. Also, I do have a more dedicated toy photography page called Epic Shots by CoolFigurez. Check it out. If you like what you see, let me a follow there as well. If you guys like unboxings, check me out over on TikTok. That's where I post all my unboxings. And of course, subscribe to me here on YouTube if you haven't already at CoolFigurez. So with that being said, guys, let's get into this week's Coffee and Toys Live. Welcome back to the CoolFigurez page. I'm your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector, and welcome to episode 16 of Coffee and Toys Live, where I speak to a new guest every week about toys, toy collecting, toy photography, and so much more. This week, guys, I'd like to welcome an amazing toy photographer, Sean Canary, aka Visual Approach Photo. I asked you and I still fucked it up.
It's all right.
How you doing, man?
Wonderful. Just got back from Little League, and I wasn't playing Little League. My son was playing Little League, but it's always a whirlwind with kids, but doing great. How about you?
Pretty good. Tired, busy. I've been up since like 4:30 in the morning, so it's been a long day for me personally.
Yep. Nice.
So
Hitting the gym, I see.
Overall? Oh yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
How's your week been overall, man?
Great. Busy with work. I had some time to shoot yesterday, and I think I'm going to have to reshoot it, but it was nice to spend some time in the studio and try to get something in front of the camera.
No, yeah, I definitely understand that, man. I think it's time for me to start shooting some stuff. I have a few shots that I still need to post that I have, saved up and whatnot, but I'm starting
Yeah.
to run through the end of those, and I'm just like, okay, I need to start thinking of some new ideas, putting stuff
Oh
together and whatnot. You know what I mean?
man, I get the weekend, so Sunday, Saturday for the a block of time for each day, and if I don't get something on the weekend, then I'll go in the week without posting because I got between work and just the kids and being home with them. It's so tough to get out there and shoot something. But
No, yeah, I definitely get that, man. It's time consuming, just thinking up of a
yeah,
concept and then finding the figures, setting it all up. And like you said, you shoot it, you look at it, you might even edit it a bit, and then you'll be like, okay, I think I need to go
mhm.
back and reshoot this whole thing, reposition something here and there. It's just a whole entire thing.
Yeah. The shot I took yesterday, I spent about an hour messing with it in Lightroom and Photoshop, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to reshoot this, which is like heartbreaking when you spend all that time working on something and then you're like, yeah, okay, I have to do this all over again. Especially if fortunately, I left the setup up in the garage so I could
Oh,
go
okay,
back
yeah.
to it and just tweak stuff and kind of get the same thing. But sometimes I break them all down and I think I've got it. And then I look at it and I'm like, and I got to go back out there and set it all
Yeah.
up again and reshoot, which is just like kill me now.
No, yeah, definitely. But
But
it's a good thing, like you said, you left this one, still up and whatnot. So it should be an easy reshoot for this one at least.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. The idea is coming together. So I'd like to get it posted before the weekend. Posting 2 times in a week is a luxury, and I've already posted once this week, so I wouldn't mind having another one.
Well, I think it's always worth it to go back and reshoot it if, it comes out more closer to that idea in your head. And, I think that's the biggest thing is like we always have this concept and idea in our head of what we want these figures to look like. And then we
Yep.
go and mess with them. And whether it's because of the limited articulation or maybe just the posing at the moment, it doesn't come out right. But like you said, you go back, you tweak some stuff a bit, and who knows, maybe the end product's a lot closer to that image that you had in your head.
Yeah, I've noticed a couple of times when I go back and I reshoot something that when I go look at what I reshot, it actually makes me appreciate more the original attempt. And I've gone and ditched the reshoot photo and actually stuck with my original idea, which is also frustrating because I went back out there to reshoot it and now I'm ditching that one too. So, but it's the process is super fun. It's as long as it remains fun, I'll continue to do it.
No, yeah, definitely. And you definitely put out some amazing photography, man. Like some of your shots are
Thank you.
just, I'm just like, how is this toys? How are these toys? Like your posing, your lighting, just everything looks fantastic, man. Like
I
some of your
appreciate
shots,
that.
like I said, they just look out of this world.
I mean, it's fun, and I think you'll notice if you look through a lot of my work, I tend to choose figures that don't maybe have a head sculpt that are wearing a helmet, or because then it's easier to make Mando look like a more lifelike than a Black Series figure that has a head sculpt because it clearly looks like a figure. And that's my goal ultimately is to maybe try to create a bit of an illusion. Not necessarily make them look like they're real, but less like toys, and just use them as kind of the model in front of the camera.
Well, you definitely achieve that, man, because like I said, some of them just look so realistic. Like I think it was the one where you have Mando sitting on the throne and all the stormtroopers are dead, and you have like, was it the
Oh yeah,
armor and can't remember the female Mandalorian right next to him. That
yeah,
shot is
Bo-Katan,
just
yeah.
Bo-Katan. I don't know why I can't remember her name, but yeah, that shot. He looks like he's a real person sitting in that throne. The way you have him posed up and everything, and the lighting and everything is just amazing. That one shot you took of the Razor Crest, like it looked like it was flying and everything.
Hmm. That was
Yeah,
fun.
those are some great
That thing
shots.
is, I mean, it's incredible, and you learn something with each shot. So to be able to get the Razor Crest onto that diorama and have me and being able to fit the it all in frame was great. If it was it was hit or miss there for a minute, but it worked out because and I learned a bit about compositing two images together, which was something. Thank you, YouTube. Um, but with Mando and the throne, it really came down to just making him look like he was sitting there, and that's tough to do. It's as hard as it is to do an action pose where somebody's doing something dynamic, to have them look somewhat lifelike while sitting still is just as can be just as challenging. And that was fun. I had a lot going on. If you read the caption that was with it, I had a lot on my mind about some frivolous thing that has since been resolved, but I was trying to kind of convey that through the pose. And it seemed to have kind of worked out pretty well. So I'm ultimately ended up being pretty happy with it.
No, yeah, man, definitely. I mean, people don't realize like this is just as much of an outlet as any other hobby, you know. We can
Yeah.
portray our emotions, what we're feeling through these toy picks. We have such a wide range to choose from. If you're feeling angry, you have Darth Vader. If you're feeling happy, you have any number of other
Yeah.
figures. And like you said, you kind of pick kind of like a powerful pose. It seems like from the image, I don't remember reading the caption fully at this point. I probably did when I saw the image originally, but just from what I remember, it seems like you were kind of trying to portray the message that you've come a long way and you're looking down at everything that you've come across and all the challenges you've passed, and
Hmm.
you have more ahead of you, but seeing everything that you've already accomplished and passed, that whatever's coming is not going to be anything to stop you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. If I feel like the longer that you do kind of this toy photography thing, or it just in life in general, the challenges and the successes and the failures kind of definitely kind of shape who you are and who you're going to be. So yeah.
No, yeah, definitely, man. So I think along the lines of that is also some of the stuff that you grew up with, watching and liking and stuff that kind of helps shape who you are today. So kind of going into that, it kind of goes into what got you into collecting, man. What got you into all these franchises that you now still collect to this day?
I would say just growing up and playing with the toys as a kid and never really growing out of that. I've told this story a couple of times. I told Trevor this story when we were unboxing the Hot Toys speeder bike. Um, that I think I was 20. I just turned 21. I think I was still living at home, and my bedroom was full of like the Power of the Force, like I'd Slave One, the Walker, they used all the original molds and they re-released that whole line, and they had super buff Luke Skywalker and all the ridiculous looking figures. Um, and I was dating someone at the time, and my bedroom was full of this stuff, and she hadn't actually been in my bedroom yet. And she came in, and I had the episode 1 poster above my bed with Anakin walking away from the hut on Tatooine with Darth Vader's shadow on it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I had like an Arthur Adams X-Men poster, a whole bunch. It was just like a nerd exploded in there. Um, and she walked in and she kind of looked around and was like, wow, this relationship is over. I mean, you could tell just by the look in her eye that it was over. But so I've always been in it. I've always enjoyed it. I've always loved toys. I've always wanted to collect and buy things. And I think what really got me back into collecting most recently, because you have kids and you get married and you're focused on other stuff, and when the Black Series wave came out for The Force Awakens is when I got back into collecting. I picked up the Kylo Ren and I was like, whoa, like the Black Series line is pretty sweet. And at that time I became an inbox collector. And then I started looking at a bunch of the legacy vehicles from the 3 3/4 inch line from Clone Wars and kind of working my way backwards. And then I bought my first Hot Toys figure was the Elder Predator 2.0. Hey, Jared.
What's up,
Was
Dork?
the Elder Predator, and then once you unbox your first Hot Toys figure, it doesn't matter how much money you have, you're going to buy more of them. That's just the fucking way it is. You're just gonna buy more of them.
I know how it
So
goes, man.
I started collecting those, and I'm a 40-year-old toy collector, and it's like and again, my approach, and I've told this story before, is like you don't want to make them punch each other, because you don't want to sit there and make them fight and stuff. So, you're looking for new ways to kind of enjoy this collection that you've invested a lot of time and energy and money into. And I was kind of posting random pictures of my collection on Instagram, and that's when, the algorithm started to show me toy photography, and seeing whether it was Jared, his stuff with blood and blowtorches and fireworks, or work more or less with the digital background, or the Imperial grunt. Those were kind of the folks, you see that I saw in the beginning, that I was like, holy shit, this is how you play with toys. Like, this is how you do it. And my sister-in-law at that time had given my wife a DSLR camera so that we could take pictures of our kids. And so I was like, yeah, okay. So
that works out, huh?
I took the camera. I don't think I've been doing photography for about 3 years. I don't think I've taken a single picture of my children, because they're not, I don't know, it's the articulation or something. So I put all this crap in front of the TV in the basement where my collection is, and I started putting toys in front of like paused DVDs to try to get a photo. And then I started building, like barn doors for these lamps that I got at Kmart, and I was trying to kind of piece it all together. And I got hooked. I think I took like 3 or 4 photos in one day, and I posted them all, and I was like, I've just been obsessed ever since. So that's kind of how it all unfolded.
No, yeah, definitely. I kind of have a similar story of how I got into toy photography. I was same situation. I was just kind of posting random photos of my collection. I kind of realized like I have a decent collection. It was more of my old collection from when I was a kid, like my 3 3/4 inch Star Wars toys and stuff like that. And I was like, I kind of want to share this with other collectors. It's cool to share with your friends and family, but they only care so much, to be honest. So
Yeah.
I figured, with the Instagram and everything, there's got to be other like-minded collectors. And so I thought, let me start sharing. And like you said, then the algorithm started showing me real toy photography, and my mind was just completely blown. And I had to try my hand at it instantly, and the first thing I did was go to YouTube to look up, how do you do this? And of course, Jared's videos were the first to pop up 2-3 years ago, and so that was it. And like you said, you try it, you take 2-3 shots, you post them all in one day, and next thing you know, you're posting 4 the next day, 5, and then you're getting more elaborate, better with your posing and everything. And then it takes, like you said, about an hour to 2 just to take one shot.
Oh my God.
You go and mess with it, and then you go back and retake it. And so it's
I've
an even longer
absolutely
process.
agonized over. It's funny, so I would come home back when my schedule used to be, I could come home from work, and shoot a photo in the garage with enough time to still go pick up my kids from daycare. So I had like this 30-minute window, and I could go home and get a shot, and I would take the shot, and I'd be like, I love this shot, and I would post it. There is no scenario where I could ever do that now. It's just not happening. So it's like I have to have like these perfect, barometric weather conditions for me to go into the garage and shoot. I have to have the figure. I have to have the diorama. I have to have the lights have to be charged, the battery and the camera, right? And it has to all kind of be ready to go. And I miss the old days where I could just go in there and put Mando in front of a log and take a picture of it and be like, this is what's up. But those days are long gone for me.
Yeah, now you got Mando doing flips and all sorts of things.
Because, like you said, it grows into this monster. And when you look at the shots that you've done, and you're trying to grow and learn from those, and every shot should at least maybe learn something from it, or not necessarily try a new technique with every photo, but I also have more family requirements now as my old kids get older and need to do stuff. So it's this uncontrollable beast, but it's too much fun to ignore.
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that because like I started this back when, everything got shut down. Everybody had all
Mhm.
this time on their hands, and so I got into it heavily, and it's like, okay, I made all this time for it, started YouTube. Everything's opening up, going back to work. Well, at the time I was in school, I was graduating college and stuff, so I was finishing up. I was a full-time student, but then, have to go into the real world, get a job. I
Yep.
started my own personal training business, that picks up, getting more clients, training myself, and, it's just
Yep.
busier, busier, and busier. It's like, yeah, when do you find the time? It's like, yeah, I have to find that perfect window of time. I have to
Yep.
have the concepts already ready. The figures have to be ready, and it has to go down right then and there. If it's not, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and that's that. Well, we've kind of touched on this already, but when you go out, when I get time in the studio and I come out and I don't have something, it's like, oh my god, it's like, and I'm dying to get back out there and try again. It's like when you have an at bat in baseball, having just come from Little League, and you strike out looking, or you don't get all of it, and you ground out to shortstop, and you're just dying to get back up at the plate. It's the same thing, and I think, and I'm still lucky in that I'm motivated by my personal desire to take a better photograph and to post a photo that I like. I love. I'm thankful that I don't feel like I'm in competition with anyone, or that I'm not fighting against um, the algorithm, which I know hates me, so I'm not even going to try to woo it. I'm trying to have fun. I've met so many like amazing people that I've become friends with, that I talk to and text with, and it's been amazing. So I'm so thankful for that all the other stuff is just kind of icing on the cake.
No, yeah, definitely, man. Like you said, it's really not about even, trying to play to the algorithm. For us, it's just I feel like for us, if we just take great photos of what we love, the people
Yeah.
are gonna find it. There's so many great pages out there that will find it and share it and get it out there for others to see. And
Hmm.
like you said, you're definitely not in competition with anybody, man, because if they were, you'd blow them out of the water, even
Oh
though
God,
there are
no.
some heavy hitters out there. But
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
to be honest, if you really look at it, each of you have a unique category. It would be in your own unique category. I don't think you can really
Yeah.
compare your work to Jason's or to Jarrett's or to, Jason B. Michaels, because you guys all have your own style, your own
Yeah.
uniqueness to your photos. Like if I'm scrolling quickly through my feed, I can tell when it's one of your photos, when it's one of Jarrett's, when it's one of Jason's, when it's one worker more or less,
Hmm.
because you just pick up that style, which you guys have basically just become through the process of going from shooting for 30 minutes, getting a shot, to now taking hours to do a shot, doing some editing, and going back.
Yeah. And I've learned a lot. I've learned so much from all of those people. It's like, and that's the best part about our community, is that everyone is so encouraging. Like I learned a ton from Work More or Less when we first started. He's like, here, go to my webpage where I will just show you everything you'll ever need to know. And the same with Jared's YouTube. I remember just sitting at work and not doing any work and watching his videos and talking to Jason B. Michael about his process and becoming friends with him and learning how he approaches things and just bouncing ideas off of him. His brain doesn't work like my brain. And I love the
Mm-hmm.
way his brain works because it's so much different. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's so much fun. That's as much fun as taking a photo, really, as just watching to
Mm-hmm.
see what these guys are going to post and what I can learn from it. So I have a Watu. The
Yeah.
reason I do stuff with Photoshop is because his work speaks to me. Him and Trevor are just like unparalleled.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've watched. It's ridiculous. I will watch Tom. I have a Watu's like speed edits to kind of see what he's layering in and how he's kind of drawing stuff, and then I'll try to figure it out, like reverse engineer his magic to try to do something on one of my shots. But I mean, once I got a laptop and I saw what he was doing, and it is as much it's fun to edit a photo. If you shoot Darth Vader and you have Photoshop and you can clean the dust off of his helmet with the cloning tool, it is like therapy. I mean, it's just relaxing. You go in, you get it done. I love the editing process as much as I love the shooting process, and I try not I try not to kind of, one of the things that Johnny said, Sergeant Bananas, who's like the king of kings, you gotta, he said, you can't like rescue a photo on Photoshop. You have to take a good photo. And then if you use Photoshop on a good photo, then you can make it a great photo. And I'm paraphrasing, and I'm sure he'll tell you that I'm butchering his quote. But if you watch his tested videos, you can see that like he takes a really great photo, and then he does these. He doesn't have to do much in Photoshop. I have to do much more. But that's the key is to take a really good photo and then try to make it a little bit better. And so I try to capture it all on camera if I can. Not like fire and sparks, which I can't help but add to all of my photos, but yeah.
That's to your style, man. Like I said, that's part of your
Right.
style. So, what is your favorite figure line to collect, man?
It's hard to say. So my favorite, the ones I look forward to the most when I get a shipping notice, maybe Storm Collectibles right now, or Mafex. Like when you get a Mafex Batman figure, and it's like it's incredible what they deliver. If you asked me a couple of years ago, maybe I would say Black Series, but it's like when I get a Black Series figure now, it's like it comes with work because you have to paint it. Like I can't shoot a Black Series figure until I paint the goddamn thing. And that's not necessarily Hasbro's fault. Maybe it's my fault because of what I want to see in a figure and what I paid $26 for a Republic Commando, and I got to spend an hour painting it and fixing the knee pads and doing stuff before I can shoot it. So that's a pain in the nuts. But the Scorpion figure from Storm Collectibles that I got a couple years ago is still one of my all-time favorite figures. I mean, he's just nuts. I did recently get, and this is the one I just shot, this Bumblebee figure, the MDLX. I mean, for $60, that's an incredible figure.
Wow.
So I pre-ordered the Prime, and if they do more with this line, I'll buy them all. They're so fun, and I love having a Transformer that I don't have to transform because it's a pain in the nuts to do that. So yeah, Storm Collectibles though. So I just got these, the Golden Axe,
the skeleton
ones, the dead frames or whatever they're called.
Nice.
Because you can use them with different lines. So I like that kind of stuff.
No, yeah, I love figures like that you can just use with any and all lines that can just fit in and stuff like that. I think those are very underrated figures. You know what I mean? People tend to pass up on them because they're like, oh, it's not going to fit into my display. It's like, well, you're looking at it a little two-dimensional. Look at it three-dimensionally, and you'll see the potential there.
I'll buy a figure just for an accessory now, and that's like how my collecting has changed. Before it was like, oh, I have to get this because it's Black Series. I have to buy Grief Karga or Queel because they're Black Series figures. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. So now I'll buy, if I'm like, so I saw the Coronation Starscream, which is such a ridiculous figure from Hasbro. And it's like, I forgot which one it was. I just got it the other day. It's this one. It's not a masterpiece figure, but he comes with the throne. He comes with the purple throne he sits on. And so I was like, yeah, I got to get it. It was $50, whatever. But that's typically how my collecting has shifted. If something has a really cool set of accessories, I'll buy it.
No, yeah, definitely. I think for me, I used to do that a bit too. I'd see a figure and be like, okay, this can fit in as like a background character here or there, the accessories. But with these price increase, I've become a little more selective with some of the figures I've decided to pick up. I'm like, okay, maybe I don't need too many background characters. Maybe I don't need that little accessory that this one character comes with.
I just paid $27 for the Knight Brother Guardian gaming greats from
Black
GameStop.
Series?
Yeah, I was like, you just rang this up as $27 and change. Like, what? Are you insane? And they're like, no, that's what it costs. Like, yeah,
like,
that can't
that's
be
standard.
Right.
Yeah, man, that's what it is now, and that's why I've really decide to like roll back on collecting certain lines, especially Black Series, because like you said, you have to put so much into them just to make them accurate or look decent
Yeah,
after paying that hefty price for essentially one figure with very, very, very limited accessories when there's a whole lot of other figures for that same price point that come with a lot more accessories.
yeah. Bib Fortuna comes with 3 cups. He comes. I got him. I opened him the other day, and I used Goof Off to remove all that weird blue that they brushed onto him. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, what are these accessories? I'm like, they're all just cups. I was like, all right. I mean, but again, I liked that because I'm always looking for kind of weird, cool accessories. So for photography, so that totally worked out. But he doesn't come with. Why would he come with a holdout blaster? But at least maybe, for him to be movie accurate, they wouldn't give him the staff that he came with when he was a Kenner figure all those years ago. But it's just kind of funny that he just comes with he should have come with a drink tray also if he was going to come with all those cups. But whatever.
Yeah, Hasbro's gonna Hasbro, so nothing you can do
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
So we've talked a bit about your favorite figures that you collect. Are those also your favorite figures to shoot?
Well, so I do like to shoot the Storm collectibles. Like that's the problem. I have to stop myself. Like I could shoot Stormtroopers every day. I could shoot Reptile, Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Goro every day. I'm Mandalorian. I'm sure there are people out there, anybody who sees my work show up in their feed. Thank you for looking at it. But also, I'm sure some of you are sick to death of seeing all the Mandalorian shots that I post. But I can't, if I'm captivated by a figure and I want to shoot it, I'm going to shoot it. And so I like shooting Mandalorian, obviously. I love shooting Darth Vader. I think there's so much to say and tell, to do with that character. He's almost, because he's had such a crazy arc. Yeah, I mean, I still do prefer shooting Black Series, largely because I've painted them and I've enjoyed painting them, even though I feel like maybe I shouldn't have to. I do enjoy shooting them. But also I can put them in poses and maybe like cram a wire up their ass and have them do things that I wouldn't do to another line of figures. So there's less risk to shooting those. Like, if I shoot some other lines that are maybe a little bit more expensive, the posing gets a little bit more static. But I try to get a lot out of the Mafex and the Figure Arts Mandalorians, and they move pretty well. But I can't get away from Star Wars. It's kind of part of my DNA. So.
No, yeah, definitely. That's what I started, shooting and stuff. It kind of like you, the Black Series kind of got me back into collecting. I was a big Clone Trooper fan as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that they were making 6-inch ones, and I was just like, well, let me check these out. And next thing you know it, I got like 3-4 shelves full of Black Series troopers and all sorts of other figures and whatnot. And so, yeah, I started shooting with all those, and then eventually branched out to McFarlane. And like you said with Hot Toys, once you open one, you buy more no matter what. Well, mine was Mezco's. So once I got one Mezco, it was like opening a black hole for me. And
I love. So Doc Nocturnal is probably one of my favorite all-time figures.
Yeah.
Mezco does some incredibly special stuff, and if I had room in my scope of collecting, or I've actually been talking to some people. I've been paring down my Hot Toys purchases, and shifting some of that collecting energy towards Mezco. I picked up the Superman. I'm hoping to get my hands on Solomon Kane. And a number of other figures. One day I'll be rewarded by a re-release of the Pink Skulls.
Me both, man.
Yeah. So it's just, I just have to. I'm because as I was saying earlier, kind of with the cost of a figure, I'll do less with that. You'll see in my feed, I very rarely shoot Hot Toys, and Hot Toys probably takes up 60% of my collection. 60% of my collection 6 scale. And I never really shoot it. I don't have dioramas that size. And again, I had, when I first got Darth Maul, the DX, the Phantom Menace one, and I'm standing on the table and he fell. And since his head is on a magnet, it came right off and just went rolling towards the edge of the table. And I had to catch
Oh,
it. And it's like, he's got horns on his head, and fortunately the figure was undamaged. But I was like, you're just going back in the case, and I'm not even going to look at you anymore. So I kind of steer clear of it. And when I shot that most recently, I did Darth Vader 6 scale for May the 4th, and I used like an older sideshow figure to cram him into the Emperor's throne, because he actually, I've had him such a long time, and his joints are loose because he's a sideshow. He's got a sideshow body underneath. So he's like basically a marionette doll. He was able to be articulated in a way where I could actually sit him into the throne in a somewhat convincing way. I couldn't do that with the Empire Strikes Back Hot Toys figure. I didn't even try. He was like basically just like had rigor mortis. Just put him back in the case. But yeah,
no,
long story
yeah.
short, it's Star Wars. Star Wars Black Series.
No, yeah, definitely, man. I get that. Like I said, that's definitely what got me back into collecting and stuff was the Star Wars The Black Series. And unfortunately, it seems like I said, they're not giving us what we're paying for at this point. They're charging us so much. And like you said, we're having to paint stuff, having to add accessories and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So me personally, I've had to really pick and choose and just really pick the ones that I want versus, collecting all waves.
Yeah, there's certain decisions that are being made that are probably appropriate financial decisions that we're not privy to, so that the line remains profitable for them. It has to be. There's a business decision that's being made, because I have to assume honest intent and imagine that they're not, that they're just trying to kind of keep the line fresh and I'm looking up at my Black Series figures now. It has to be that. I can't imagine that they've suddenly forgotten what we like. I mean, I refuse to believe it. So.
Well, I think all we can do is wait and see, and hopefully it turns around, or if not, we'll see. But do you think they're going to do the same thing with the Black Series line that they did with the Marvel Legends line with that new windowless packaging?
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to getting home and opening one of them and pulling out a pair of socks or something. I mean, it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing, people? But yeah, probably. I mean, and I applaud their efforts to do what they feel is appropriate. But yeah, I mean, perhaps we'll see. We'll see.
But that wouldn't really affect you too much because you're an open box collector, right? Like with most of your stuff or all your stuff.
Oh yeah, I open everything. Yeah. I have some stuff up in this corner, up above the Turtles machine that's not open. Like I have the Classified Joe line up there. Yeah, I probably won't open those.
Whatever. It was just nice to look at.
Yeah. Yep.
So talking about your toy photography and everything, man, those amazing dioramas that we see, those are all built by you, right?
They are, because out of necessity. I mean, and it's if you don't have the right diorama, you can't convey an idea. You can't take a photo, or it won't be the one that you have in your brain. And then, you're left kind of wanting. So out of necessity, I had to build setups to kind of so that I could convey those ideas. So. And it was fun. It's a challenge, and you learn from the folks that are generous enough to share what they've learned and what their process is on Instagram. So, again, we're talking about Work More or Less on his website. He went through the process of creating a brick wall. So I was like, I can probably make a reasonable attempt at this. And, you learn a lot. YouTube is your friend. And if you're willing to kind of go into it with an open mind and with the realization that there's stuff for you to learn and that you don't know everything, then you'll be able to kind of, take in that information and turn it into something hopefully worthy of the camera. Like the mountain, I made a mountain for some reason. I don't know why. I made this stupid mountain. It's like enormous. And I was watching a video. I have a friend who paints Warhammer, and he does terrain for Warhammer. And so he sent me this video of this guy who was making like kind of like this mountainous terrain. And I was like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna buy a bunch of foam. And I made this one weekend. I just stayed in the garage and ignored my family and made this big dumb mountain that I barely can shoot because it's so big. It's like, can't even get in the photo. But it was really fun. I learned a ton. And again, I just try to turn those, what did I screw up in this project? What went well? What did I like about it? What didn't I like? And it kind of informs the next project. So yeah, I am working to commission a couple of dioramas from some people that I'm whose work that I really like, to just bolster the number of setups that I have available. Because again, when I first started with toy photography, I was like, well, what am I going to shoot these guys in front of? Like, so everybody inevitably goes outside. You're like, oh, I'm going to put them in the field. I'm going to do it. Everyone has taken a Stormtrooper in the grass photo. That's just fucking. And I said this on. I think who was I? I think I was talking to Trevor and Tom on their show. I said it's like toy photography puberty. You go out there, and that's your rite of passage. That's when your voice gets deeper. You've shot outside with Stormtroopers, and then you kind of start to get the feel for it, and then you come inside. But that's basically kind of everybody's process, because without appropriate setups, but you still have this desire and urge to photograph your figures, you get pushed outside, and you're going to buy fireworks and you're going to fucking melt something. But again, you have to kind of go through those steps. And I remember just watching, how accomplished toy photographers were doing things when I first started. And watching those tested videos with Johnny and being like, this is not something that anyone could ever replicate. Like, especially with the snow, whether it's the Snowtrooper or the Ronin, Wolverine, like doing a lot of that stuff. Still, I'll never get the shutter speed right on that. There's just no scenario where that's happening. So I can just sit back and admire it heavily. But yeah, there's certain things that we all kind of learn through trial and error. And I've made every mistake you could possibly make doing it. And that's where repetition comes in. Somebody reaches out to you and they're like, hey, how do you do that? And it's like, I'll be happy to tell you. And we won't get the same results. Mm-hmm. And that's not saying that my results will be better than yours, but they'll be different because I've fucked this up 100 times before I finally got it right. So that's just kind of the way it shakes out. So if somebody asks me how I did something or how I built something, I'll send them more information than they probably asked for. But it's just to kind of pay it forward because of all the guys that came that do this now that did the same for me. I mean, that's the best part about it. Like I said earlier. So that's one of my favorite parts about it too. Just kind of passing it down and paying it forward.
No, yeah, definitely. That's one thing I've learned, having a few people on my chat or on this show is, like you guys are very open to discussing your process and helping and giving tips and, how to do this and whatnot. But like you said, then it's up to us to take those and practice it, not just apply it, but also practice it much like you guys did, because it's going to take us, a few fuck ups to get it right, to realize, okay, this is not how it's going to go. This is how, if it's going this way, it's going to be fucked up. So if it's not going this way, most likely it might not be fucked up, but who knows? We'll find out in the end. But in the end, it's just a process. And I think a lot of people, especially my generation, they're so into that instant gratification. They want to know how to do something, and instantly they want to be able to replicate it and do it just as good as how they saw it. And that's just not how life works. You have to practice, you have to fuck up, you have to learn.
Everybody's page has growth in it. If you scroll back to the beginning of their page, the shots that they took in the beginning are going to be drastically different than the shots that they're taking now. And that's the joy of that journey too. I mean, that's just the way it goes with everything. When you first walked into the gym, your overhead press wasn't 185 pounds or 225. You were overhead pressing the bar, and then and you're doing, whatever, 8 to 10, and then you're like, oh, let's do wave loading, or let's do 5 to 7, let's do 5 by 5, let's do whatever. And because you've accumulated this knowledge accumulation, and now you know what to eat, and now you know how to incorporate eating and training. So it's the same with photography and with everything. You just got to get in there, and you're going to fuck some shit up. You're going to do some shit right. And then the stuff you do right, keep doing it. And the stuff you fucked up, stop doing it. And then life is good.
Exactly, man. Exactly. Like you said, it's progress.
The other thing that I wanted to just quickly say was the reason I'm very quick to pass along the information, that any information that I can claim to have, is because it's not my information to hold on to and hide from people. This is information that and techniques that I learned from other people. Like, here's the YouTube video that I stole this lightsaber Photoshop tutorial from. Because again, if people are willing to share that information with me, it's not proprietary. I didn't invent any of this stuff. I'm just using those techniques in a way that are maybe is kind of different. So it's like, when I get a lot of questions about the lava diorama that I made a couple of years ago. And I was like, oh, I stole this idea from the Revenge of the Sith DVD documentary in less than a minute, where they show how out of foam, they carve the lava rock, and then they build this clear river, and then they pour the lava into it and they light it from the bottom. And I was like, I can do that. Like, this is a technique that they did in Star Wars. I can apply that to toy photography. So when anybody asks me, I'm like, yeah, this is where I got that idea from, and this is kind of how I applied it. So it's just kind of being keenly aware that this is not my information to harbor, and that it should be shared, because that's what makes the community better.
Exactly. That's what helps the community grow. It's what helps bring the community together. It shows how, we're not one of those communities that's just going to gatekeep and whatnot. We're open to,
yeah. Oh my God.
Sharing and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, oh God, I can't even imagine. I'll respond to messages all day. I'll just answer questions all day. Some days I get a lot of questions if I'm posting frequently, and some days I don't. But I love interacting. I love talking. Oh my God, that's why we're doing it. All right. I mean, that's. If I didn't care to talk to the community and be part of the community, then why am I posting this shit on Instagram?
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway. Yeah.
No, yeah, but it's great because I think I was watching one of Sir Dork's videos a long time ago, and he said Instagram is it's kind of crazy to think, because posting a pic nowadays is way different than what it would be back in the day. Nowadays you can post a pic, hundreds and thousands of people can like it. Back in the day, you'd have to literally go up to people physically with a photo and say, do you like this photo?
Right.
Do you like this photo? And maybe 1 out of the 6 would like it, but here you're able to experience a whole community that enjoys your work and your effort. And like you said earlier, you put so much time into just one shot alone, and to get all those people to respond to you, I feel like it's kind of like a reward to your hard work. You realize that all that effort and work you put into it was worth it, because all these people are enjoying your work and getting so much out of it that they want to know how you did it, because it's such a great image.
Yeah, and that's great, and I'm happy about that. I'm happy when a post does well, but if I post a photo, it's because I like it. It's because I like the photo. It's sometimes I'll think to myself, this photo may do really well, or other times I'll put, like, I knew when I posted that Bumblebee photo, because I've never posted a Transformer shot before. I was like, this photo's not going to do well. I don't care. I like it, so I posted it. And it didn't do that well at all, and I don't really care, because it's a cool figure, and I really had a ton of fun shooting it. It was a photo that I got really quickly, which again is a rare thing. so I was happy with the result, and so my return on investment was very high for that photo.
No, yeah, definitely, man. And I think that's honestly, as much as I was saying, like, we enjoy seeing the reward of
Yeah,
people
yeah,
engaging with our photo and everything. I think ultimately that's the best reward right there is you being content and happy with that shot because, yeah, we started this to share with the community and everything, but ultimately you started it to share what you want to share with the community, you know?
yeah,
And, like you said, you shoot a lot of the same figures, so you've kind of developed somewhat, I guess, of a fan base based around that. And I think that's what happens with a lot of people that become kind of larger on social media. They fall into a category that they themselves create for themselves.
oh yeah,
And they become afraid to branch out because, they know their audience is there specifically for that.
hmm,
And they're like, well, I really want to do this, but will they respond? And it's like, sometimes you just have to say, fuck it,
I
like
don't
you
care.
did.
I don't
And you posted
fucking
that
care.
Transformers, and who
Yeah,
knows,
I don't care.
maybe you'll bring in some new followers that like Transformers, and maybe if you post another one, they'll see that and be like, oh, maybe he's gonna post another one.
Yeah,
That's how I find some people. I'll see one pic that they post that I really like, and I'm like, maybe they're gonna follow it up. Maybe they're
yeah,
gonna post another pic with this figure that I like that they did a really good job with, and so I'll follow them and wait in anticipation to see what's next. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, my Mortal Kombat stuff doesn't do great because again, my audience was predominantly built around Star Wars when I first started. So if I post anything that's not Star Wars, it is predictable that it will do not as well. Um, and so once I am okay knowing that it's not necessarily, possibly a quality issue, um, I I don't I can't I just don't have the discretionary energy to care how it does. I can be pleasantly surprised, but I'll never be disappointed. So that's just the way it goes.
Well, like I said, ultimately the whole thing is, that you're happy with the shot and you're happy enough that you want to share it with the community.
Yeah,
And whether or not they respond to it, you're happy that it's out there. I'm sure, like I
yeah,
said, whether 1,000 people like it versus, a few thousand versus your other posts, that's 1,000 people that you would have had to walk up to individually and
right.
said, do you like this pic? Do you like this
Bring
pic?
my. I got to go to a baseball game and bring my portfolio.
Exactly. Just walk through the stands while everybody's watching their kids. Hey, do you like this pic? Do you like this pic?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. Check mark. Check mark.
So like I said, whether it's 1,000 or 2,000, it's 1,000 people that saw your work, enjoyed your work, and enjoyed it enough to stop and engage with it. Because so many people just
Yeah,
scroll through and don't even engage, not even a like. As simple as it is to just double
I
tap. A
know.
lot of people will just scroll through. So who
Yeah,
knows how many more people really do engage with your photos and images than we know.
right. That's true. Yeah, and I'm grateful for all of it. So it's good. It's good stuff.
So, are there any kind of figures that are coming out in 2022 that you're anticipating to get your hands on so that you can shoot them and get some nice photography out there?
Yeah, and I was saying earlier that I was kind of shifting away from 1/6 scale, but I really want the 1/6 scale Scorpion and Sub-Zero from Storm Collectibles. They just look fucking awesome. I want them so badly. Um, I probably, what else? I'm still waiting for my Clone Wars Ahsoka Tano from Hot Toys. That's supposed to ship in June. But then it's like I have a lot of Mythic Legions on pre-order. I have Cosmic Legions. So I'm not a completist. I won't buy a bunch of shit or an entire line. I'll cherry pick. Like I'll buy some NECA stuff, like the classic monsters. I'll buy Lon Chaney as the Wolfman. I'm pointing at it as if you can see it. And I'll buy, like I bought some of the cartoon turtle stuff. I didn't buy all of it, but I bought some of it. I buy most of the movie turtle stuff from NECA. I don't do all their horror stuff. But yeah, so I kind of cherry pick. If I'm at the store and I see something that looks cool, I'm gonna buy it. If I'm drinking a glass of wine and I'm on Big Bad Toy Store, I'm gonna buy some shit. And it really depends on if I can shoot it, if I have an idea to shoot it. That's kind of, I'll buy it if I have an idea, predominantly. But yeah, I went from being almost exclusively Black Series to now dabbling in Mafex and Figure Arts and all of those other 112 lines, just for photography's sake, to have some other stuff to shoot. Because that Hush Batman from Mafex is freaking amazing. The cape is enormous, but the figure is really great. And I've never had any QC issues with Mafex, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I have no Mafex Batman. Surprisingly, he's like my favorite character, and I have no Mafex Batman. And recently, I've been kind of like searching online, checking offer up, looking like, can I find a decent deal on one? I'm like, I really want to get my hands on one and see what it's all about, because I've been hearing a lot of great things, especially about that Hush one, you know. So
Yeah,
I'm just
he's
like really
awesome.
getting that itch. I'm getting that
But
itch
like,
to like,
it's
all right, here's my money.
yeah, for sure. But it's like, what speaks to you, Papa Palpatine walks into a GameStop and sees all these Republic Commandos, and he buys them, and then he paints them up, and they look fucking amazing, and then he shoots them. I mean, like, you can't. That's what you do. That's when inspiration strikes. You walk into the store and you see, like, okay, here we go. And that's certainly what happens to me. Probably more than it should,
The
but it
dangerous
does.
game.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So we've kind of talked a bit about your process and stuff, but one thing I want to know is, what does it start with? Do you first think of a concept and then you fill it in with the characters, or do you get the characters and then the concept comes to you?
I guess it's kind of both. Like, sometimes if I have an idea, I can go home and, like, if I'm on a conference call or something and an idea pops up, the idea kind of gets fully formed as I'm sitting there, and I have the notepad on my phone. I jot down ideas. So oftentimes I go in with a specific idea that I'll try to shoot. Sometimes I have this figure that I just finished painting and I want to try to just get it in front of the camera. But I try not to go into the garage without an idea, without some sort of direction, so that my time is well spent, because I can't just linger in there for hours. I have to go in. Sometimes I'll go in and I'll set it up, and then I'll step back until the idea kind of gets fully formed, and then I go out there and then I shoot it.
Well, thank you for that insight, man. I feel like every toy photographer is different, and that's some great insight right there. So, any real plans for 2022 in terms of toy photography? Anything exciting you got planned?
I'm going to be at the Toys in Action convention in June on the 18th in Saratoga, and I'm excited because, again, as we've been talking for this hour about how much I enjoy kind of just meeting folks and talking to the community. So I'm looking forward to meeting folks up there, and I guess, I mean, I'm bringing some stuff to sell. I did actually order some prints, but I'm really just excited to meet my fellow toy photographers, especially Jared and Trevor and the other folks that are going to be there, and just spending time with them and meeting other like-minded folks and talking about kind of the hobby and stuff like that.
No, yeah, definitely, man. Like, I was talking to Jared when he was on the show, this community has grown so much, it's like we're all lumped together with like conventions, like costume conventions, cosplay, all these other conventions, to the point where now he's gone and formed his own toy photography convention. Like,
yeah,
that's crazy to think. In like about 3 years, the community has exploded. I think it helped that everybody had nothing to do but play with their toys.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep. I mean, I even, like, his younger kids getting into it, which is really great. One of my son is 11. His friend asked if he could come over and kind of like take a look at, kind of how I did a setup, because he had some Black Series figures that he wanted to shoot. And I was like, oh, that's pretty sweet. So he came over and we shot this Darth Revan, and we used the smoke, and I had like a red and purple rim lighting on him, and I was kind of showing him how to adjust the camera settings, and he started a page, and he got, it was just fun. So it's, as long if there's enjoyment in it, you need stuff to kind of take your mind off of the everyday stuff that we're all dealing with. So it's a nice release.
No, yeah, it's nice when you get to have some time to just go and literally just play with your toys.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think we sometimes realize how fortunate we are, the luxury of being able to do that,
and just to have what we have.
Yeah, it's certainly not. I try to keep that perspective. I try not to have it kind of fade into the background and try to keep it present, because it is, the fact that we can do this at all is pretty remarkable.
Right? Just the fact that we live in a society where we have time to do this and not have to work 24/7. You know, we have time to
Yeah.
do this and also have the income to buy all the stuff to do this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you become an expensive hobby really quickly.
Oh yeah, photography doesn't make it any easier, because now you're buying your subjects. Your models
Oh
are,
yeah.
are plastic, so you're buying them, and so that you can get them in front of the camera. So that's where my collecting shifted to. Again, we're talking about, if I'm going to buy something, it's largely because I have an idea to shoot it, or I think it would look good in a specific diorama. So I pick it up, and again, might be a line that I would never collect. Like I typically steer clear of McFarlane stuff, because I don't like my figures to break immediately upon opening them. But sometimes, I pick them up because I have a specific idea. Like I went hunting for that armored dark side, because I wanted to shoot him, and it was $50 I wouldn't have normally spent if I wasn't into photography. I wouldn't have collected that figure.
Hmm. Oh yeah, definitely, man. I mean, and then I think it gets worse when you have like army builders and stuff like that,
Yep.
troopers, and it's just like, well, how
Yeah.
many do I need? And then you buy all
What?
these, and then you're
Yeah.
like, wait,
What
they
the
don't
fuck
even
am I
all fit
gonna
in the
do with
frame.
8 stormtroopers? Yeah.
They don't even all fit in the frame. You're like, I only need three.
I know. I know. Yep. Ridiculous. I'll do it anyway.
I do too, man. I do too. So, uh, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, man. I know you're a
Happy to do
father,
it.
you have work, you're also an amazing toy photographer, like I said, and so thank you for taking time out of your day to come on and talk with me. I had an amazing time. Do you want to plug any kind of socials?
No, just I've just my Instagram, visual approach photo. That's I kind of abandoned TikTok, so I'm fully focused on Instagram. It's where I have the most fun. It's where I feel the most comfortable. So um, I'm just gonna hang there.
I think I'm on the track to do the same thing. I really only post my unboxings on TikTok, but I'm kind of just like over it and everything. I'm just like, I like Instagram. I like to just keep my focus here.
Yeah.
And
I
so I'll probably just drop that soon.
I can't handle the rat race. I'm not gonna start jumping rope or dancing. I want to do what I want to do. So whatever.
Exactly, exactly. I understand that, man. So once again, thank you so much, Visual Approach, for coming on. I really do appreciate it. I had a great time. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of
Yeah.
your night, man.
Thank you, man. Take care.
You too, man.
Bye bye.
Bye. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me for episode 16 of Coffee and Toys Live. And thank you so much to my guest tonight, Sean Canary. I really did have a great time. I had a great conversation with him. So thank you once again to each and every single one of you that subscribed, that are watching this on the live, the replay, the podcast, that commented live, that liked live. I really do appreciate it. Like I always say, I try to stay engaged with my guests, so I don't always check the comments, but I try to every once in a while. But either way, thank you so much for leaving me those comments and everything. And join me next week for episode 17, where I will have Go Figure Go as a guest here on the podcast. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But until then, I've been your host, Jesse the Bat Madrigal, aka the Buff Collector. And as always, have a great fucking day. Thank you so much for sticking to the end of this video. If you enjoyed those pics, you can find the full images over on Instagram at CoolFigurez. And I do also have a separate Instagram account for my more thought out, planned out, more edited pics called Epic Shots by CoolFigurez. Check it out. If you like what you see, leave me a follow there as well. And if you guys like unboxings, check me out over on TikTok at CoolFigurez. That's where I post all of my unboxings. And check me out every Sunday for Coffee and Toys, a weekly Toy News Toy Talk podcast where we will go over all the latest and great toy news, reveals, pre-orders, weekly toy haul, and so much more. And join me every Wednesday over on Instagram for Coffee and Toys Live, where I will speak to a new guest every week about toys, toy hunting, toy photography, and so much more. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to me talk about toys. I really do appreciate it.